Hey everybody, this is Jon Croft with Cultural Warfare with Jon Croft, and I am Jon Croft. And guess what? We have Rebecca here tonight. Hi!
Hi.
How you doing, Rebecca? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Did you enjoy our topics over at Meeting Moses Weekly?
Yes, I did. Yep.
Oh, I know I got a little distracted when I was responding to that semaphore article about the founders films. Man, I get kind of worked up sometimes, don't I?
Well, it was helpful to have a lesson on the difference between propaganda and art. Thought that was really helpful.
I'm glad that you saw that as a lesson. Yes.
And if you think about it, the main problem with the Christian films that, that we've talked about before,
Mhm.
especially that you talk about, really is that they're propaganda.
Yeah.
They're not actually art. They're not actually, like we might think of them as being somewhat evangelical, but that's kind of just like maybe a Christian word for propaganda. I don't know. But
Well, I am an evangelical in many ways. So I wouldn't say that exactly. But I would say that it does seem like evangelical films, well, I guess you could say the typical faith-based film genre, or films that are of that genre, um, tend to be pretty propagandistic,
yeah.
you know? And I think if you're defining propaganda correctly, then you'll agree because it doesn't have to be political, right? That propaganda does not have to be political. But what it does have to be is unambiguously on one side and make it look like if somebody disagrees with you and they're watching the film, then there's something wrong with them. There must be something wrong with them. And so that's a good way to define it, right?
Hmm.
And so there has to be social pressure on the person who disagrees with the thing that the film comes to, the point of the film. If
Yeah.
someone disagrees with the point of the film, there must be something wrong with those people, and they must be socially unacceptable in some way.
Hmm.
So sure, politics attaches to that very easily, but also religion can,
Yeah.
you know. I find that religious films that make you think more are better,
Hmm.
right? Films like Silence, where you're not sure which religious person, which Catholic is in the right, because one of them succumbs to the pain of torture and the threat of martyrdom, and the other one does not.
Mm.
But all he's presented with then is pain and suffering, and feels very discouraged. And so these are very difficult choices that these Christians are making. And that's a good story, frankly, because it resembles real life more. Real life, it's not like, rah, rah, we're always going to win and everything we do is going to be successful. That's not how real life works. We're often going to be presented with difficult scenarios like Job in the Bible, where he's like, is God with me or not? You know? And so that's the kind of scenario where you just have to say, regardless of the fact that everyone's against me, I have to stay loyal to God. And that's a hero, right? A hero does that. And so similarly, artists know this, and they want to be the hero of their own lives and their own stories. So what do they end up doing? Making projects that other people just aren't going to agree with. But they know it's right. They know it's the right thing to do. So that's a good artist. Somebody who's not going to just easily be a pushover when someone says, that's socially unacceptable for you to do that, artist. And they're like, seems true to me. I don't care if it's acceptable or not socially. It just seems true. And that often is actually that difficult thing you have to navigate is what makes art good. because you have to now think about it and engage, like personally, really think, well, what if I was in that situation? What would I do? And that's a difficult situation that you find yourself in, which means it really demands real thought and engagement with. And you can also just kind of recognize amazing people when you see them. They're doing these difficult things that you might not even do, but it can really challenge you to be a better person, you know? So it's like Silence, for example, by Martin Scorsese that I mentioned before. That's a great story because you're thinking, I'm a Christian. I came into this story and they do not paint a good picture for me as a Christian. It's only suffering. Would I still be a Christian if that was my reality? Right? So now your faith is very challenged by this story because there's no easy answers for you. There's no easy out. But if you watch a faith-based film like God's Not Dead, you're like, man, that Christian's a winner. He's just winning, winning, winning all day. Right? So of course I want to be a Christian. I want to win. There's no thought that has to go into this. It's almost incredibly unthinking. And obviously it sets a lot of Christians up for failure because now they're not ready for real life. They think they're just supposed to be winning, winning, winning everywhere they go. And the truth is, they're not prepared for real life, which is the scenario in which they fail. And God doesn't seem to show up and provide easy answers for them. And so, my goodness, they don't even have the muscles to lift this weight at all. And then they might reject God because they're like, well, why are you making me do something that it's too hard for me to do? No, you should be able to do this. That's the point. You should be able to do that, you know? And so God is going to actually ask you to do hard things sometimes. And that's actually resembles real life. And artists want to portray that. So that's what we're here to portray, even if we have to offend people. Oh, sorry about that. Life is a little harder than you thought. And who's going to prepare you for that? You know? So if you don't have a dad preparing you, you need an artist to prepare you for this because it's not easy. And we haven't been having these real artists around um, for conservatives and Christians to learn from. And that's kind of a real shame. Again, here I am going off on this. We'll be talking about Realm Makers Expo. I went to Realm Makers Expo, guys. Now, there's a lot of reasons for me to go to Realm Makers Expo. First of all, if you go to lorehaven.com, these guys are amazing. They talk about Christian speculative fiction all day long. That's what they do. They have a podcast, which is amazing. I think it's called Fantastical Truth. Yeah, Fantastical Truth. It's really great. I met that guy on the podcast, E. Stephen Burnett, at the Realm Makers Conference. He's a really great guy, tall dude, great radio voice, perfect for a podcast. And so I got to meet with him. I got to meet with oh my goodness, I got to meet Jason Moody, the showrunner for Gabriel and the Guardians on Angel. It was so
Wow.
cool. He was just great. I literally like I'm sitting there and people come and talk to him, and in between people talking to him, I'm like asking him another question. I'm literally and eventually I'm sitting my knee on the floor, right? Because I'm probably there for like an hour. And but I didn't annoy him at all. He wasn't annoyed. In fact, he had a great conversation with me and we talked about a lot of things I can't talk about because some of it's, like about business and how Gabriel and the Guardians is doing and good and the bad, a variety of things. But yeah, man, we even talked about basically the future of Christian and conservative entertainment. I mean, actually, I don't even know if he's a conservative, but it's like he's very knowledgeable He was talking about biblical stuff like Greek and Hebrew and all kinds of cool stuff,
Wow.
mythology, and um, he was talking about cool stuff. There's a lot of people there talking with him. Other comic book artists, from one dude from Kentucky who was really cool, who was talking to him a lot as well.
So if anyone watching doesn't know, Guardians, did I say that right? No.
Gabriel and the Guardians.
Gabriel and the Guardians is a show. We've only seen one episode so far,
Hmm.
and it's through Angel. You can watch it, and it's really awesome,
It's the best
exciting.
Christian anime, period.
Christian anime, very exciting,
Yep,
very like very watchable, very
bar none,
intense.
the best.
Yeah, just very beautiful. And there's also a little graphic novel manga as
Hmm.
well to go along with it that we have. So our family is very excited about it. And so
Yeah,
it's
he told me
really,
a story about that manga. There
yeah,
was some guy who was, I don't remember what he was doing or what company he was from now, but he was like, "Do you want to make that into a manga?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, I'll make it for you." Like he basically just bam, 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 got it all done for them.
nice.
I was like impressed um, that there were some great giving people out there who would do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But they just made it happen for them. Um, so yeah, Gabriel and the Guardians, you should watch it because yeah, it's really cool, man.
yeah.
I went over there. I brought my old trusty AFM bag, which I got at AFM, and I brought because it's like you can hold so much more than the bags that they give you usually at conventions. This one's a really good one. They handed these out to everybody. Wing feather, the art of wing feather. I have not opened this yet, as you can see. We will do that here.
Wow.
And then, oops, my bag knocked it over. And then let's see, we got other goodies. Yeah, that's from the Airbnb. How was that? This is Light of the World bag. One of many bags I got. Remember that bag I gave you that what was it? What did it say? Something about literature, like addicted to literature or something?
I think it says fiction addict.
Fiction addict. Yeah, yeah. True. A lot of stuff here. Oops. A lot of Light of the World stuff. Because why? They had a special early screening. I got to see that movie.
Awesome.
And they had a special Q&A. Not enough good people asking them questions though. And I had to come home early because I literally got sick on that day. And I would have asked questions, but I felt terrible. Um, this is a kid's comic book for Light of the World. What I tend to do is just put as much of these things in my bag as I can. And then later on, I can QR code them or email them or call them. And what I tried to do is set up a meeting or an interview with people. And so I try to be nice and I say, I would like to interview you later if you're interested and tell them who I am and stuff. Let's see. This is Finding Fantasy Reads podcast. I had never heard of that podcast. See, now you know there's a podcast out there that talks about fantasy, Christian sci-fi and fantasy. Karen Norton, K-A-R-Y-N-E, Karen Norton. So you can catch Karen Norton on Finding Fantasy Reads podcast. Let's see what else. Oh, here's my lanyard for the event. That's pretty cool because you can put stuff in there. Here, I liked a lot of the promo material for Above the Circle of the Earth and for Lorehaven. They have some really good promo material. And this is the book that Stephen Burnett, who I talked about a minute ago, this is his first book. So
Mm.
I intend to read that actually. Let's see. Oh man, look at this. This card is for this cool dude. Man, his name was Ezra Kessler. Guess what he does? He makes miniatures. This series he made is called Amnesis. Some things were forgotten for a reason. And so he makes these interesting miniatures. And I said, boy, don't you love those old films that used miniatures like Star Wars and they made it look so cool in their films? They should make more films like that. And he said, that's exactly why I do it. So that someone will also go back to making these kinds of things. And he seemed like that kind of person who just loves this stuff. Like he's an artist. He makes miniatures because he loves doing it. And you can make whole worlds from these designs. Like I want to work with people like him. He just
Yeah.
seems like a cool dude. Integrity, like he just cared about the craft, you know? This is a card for the Orlel Chronicles, which I had never heard of before. Alice G. Bjornstead, orlelofficial.com. So if you go there, you can see her Orlel Chronicles. That's pretty cool. What's next? This is just what I do. I save everything because if you have a physical copy, you will not misplace it as much. You just keep it all together for these events. This is the schedule for Realm Makers. I didn't get to go to Sunday because, like I said, I got sick, which was a real drag, but that's okay. I got to do a lot on Saturday and got to see, like I said, I got to see Light of the World. I got to talk to Jason Moody, got to talk to a bunch of other people. Um, Light of the World pencils. Um, they were definitely promoting this movie there. Here's Jason Moody's information. Colossal Studios. So I got to hold on to that so I can interview him later on. This is Aaron Howard, Aaron R. Howard, another writer. I got to talk to many, many writers and tell them about Media Moses, tell them about what we do. Exciting. Another Light of the World thing, a pin. um, they had a music show. They had actually a few presentations and shows. This was the Main Street Music Show. They also had a show from SD Smith, Green Ember guy. He does music as well, like Andrew Peterson, right? He's also a musician. Man, I got to meet some great people. Um, let's see, this is Expanse Books, Aaron Howard, managing editor. Sometimes they're just a publisher and they have lots of books, but sometimes it's the writer and the writer's books. Oh, this is Peter Franson from Christian Geek Central. He's got a YouTube at Christian Geek Central, but he does a lot of other cool stuff too. And he's totally into building Christian community and Christian art community. That guy was pretty fun to talk to. He was great. Alan and Angela McDowell. They were cool. Here's another Lorehaven advertisement. Really cool stuff that they've got over there. Lorehaven's fun. You can go to their website and you can go to Fantastical Truth podcast. But I hopefully can talk to Stephen Burnett from there. E. Stephen Burnett. And I said, what does the E stand for? And he said, epic. And he was joking, but now I'm going to call him Epic. Get to talk to him again. Guess what? It's time for the
Whoa.
unveiling of Wing Feather art. They make some of the most interesting art, don't they?
Hmm.
Wing Feather. At first, I literally like when I saw the show, I was like, is this completed art? It looks very, like incomplete at first. To me, it did. Because they don't use hard lines like around the hair or around,
Yeah.
it's very kind of it's like watercolor. And
Yeah.
it,
Soft.
yeah, it just feels very kind of like impression-y. It's almost like impressionist art in some ways. Um, and then I got it. I was like, this is art.
Mm.
It's not just a show, right? It's not, I mean, it's a great show, but it's also very kind of beautifully put together art. So let's unwrap it. It's some of my favorite stuff is watching stuff people unwrap things.
It's an unboxing video.
ASMR. Mm. I'm gonna get stuck. Oh, here you go. Socks off or something. All right. Wing Feather Saga. Look at that. Art of Wing Feather.
Now you gotta like drum your fingernails on it.
This is the first time
Wow.
I've seen this. That's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Look at that.
Mm.
That's great stuff. Oh, to the nearly 10,000 fans who backed this project, who made season one happen, and who supported the artists featured in this book. Wow. That's so heartfelt. It's great. I mean, this really is like art. I mean, it is art. It's not like art. It is art. Look at this. This is beautiful. Look at that.
Wow.
That's great work. That is great work. Violet's gonna love this, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
Chapters are introduction, well, forward, introduction, book to screen, the pitch, the Igby cottage, the Igby family, episode one, episode two. Well, episode one is Lily and the Sea Dragon song. Episode two is a mysterious map. Episode three, the catacombs below. Escape to Pete's castle, fruit for Zupa, the jewels of Anira. And then the other chapters are music, sound, and crew art. Wow. So they talk about, this is the forward, here's the introduction. Yep, they mentioned C.S. Lewis here. Of course, the town on the side of the cliff. Pretty cool.
Wow.
This is great. This was given to you as you come in the door.
Mm. Wow.
It's like, here you go. Beautiful. Like, I did not expect that at all. Like, look, they even have like the different kinds of windows. Can you see that? The different kinds of windows they could choose to use uh,
Wow.
for, or is that a cupboard? No, it looks like windows. I don't know. It's pretty cool though. And little choices of cottages.
Nice.
Yeah. This is just great stuff. Look at
Gorgeous.
that. Beautiful art book. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can show one last one before. Beautiful stuff.
Wow.
All
That's
right.
cool.
That was episode 6, Jewels of Venera. I don't want to show too much. There. Dream on the Angel up right there.
Wow.
Speaking of Angel, and it has its own little bookmark also. See a little bookmark down there with it. I love those when they come with it. Me and Jason Moody, speaking of Angel, we talked about Angel. You know, I was like, Jason, what is it with people who talk against Angel? They don't understand. If you weren't making a project with Angel, you'd be making a project with some other random dude in Hollywood. And how is that any
Mm.
better? It's not any
Yeah.
better. In fact, it's worse because you would have less freedom, less artistic freedom. So a lot of people who complain about Angel complain for like some kind of suspected ideological reason or religious reason. This is not how this kind of business works, right? So you work with people who will give you the freedom to do your work. That's who you work with. And what you see is Hollywood, they don't allow you to do that now. So when you can do that, that's where you go, right? If an artist has the freedom to do their work, go there, man. What you don't want is the executives putting their own ideology into your picture. That's what you don't want. And that's what you're going to get in Hollywood. So I mean that's isn't that clear enough by now that you're going to get that in Hollywood? The evidence shows it. Evidence. But I was really impressed with Realm Makers. I found it really fun. It was really great to connect with community. It was really great to have honest conversations with people. And setting up those interviews to me was bar none priceless. In fact, if you remember, I was mostly concerned with meeting different publishers and writers and maybe buying their book, right? And remember I was going to buy the Fairy Queen.
Yeah,
And you know it became the most important thing? Just meeting people and talking to them.
that's awesome.
That became the most important thing.
Yeah.
And connecting with people. I literally connected with a lady whose daughter was, or granddaughter was, kind of like autistic. And we got to connect about her autistic daughter who makes this great art,
Wow.
how she does it. Like she literally tells, because doesn't have full operation of her hands,
Mm.
so she can't paint as she wants to, but then she tells someone else to do the thing she can't do.
Wow.
And it was just so charming.
Yeah,
Had to connect on that. And I prayed for her.
that's awesome.
And Sky Turtle wasn't there, the people who do Fairy Queen. I
Oh.
didn't see them. So I didn't get to buy the Fairy Queen, but it became less important, frankly. I was like, I can always get that online or whatever.
Yeah.
But what you can't do, meet people face to face and talk to them and be like,
Right.
what brings you here? Why are you here? Like what is your favorite thing here? Like what do you care about
Hmm.
most? And to me, it's the community itself. That's the thing that really matters the most. Uh, it was fun, driving up there and being in Grand Rapids and all that stuff. The town I had been wanting to visit for a long time, actually. And it was a very charming town, but what was most important was meeting those people,
Yeah.
especially people like Jason Moody, Stephen Burnett, a lot of those kinds of people. They really are important people in this space. And we need to really pay attention to where this industry is going and the kind of stuff that's going to get our support um, is is the kind of stuff we need to keep an eye on. And so what I tried to do is ask people to support different kinds of projects, the unconventional projects like Gabriel and the Guardians. There's really, when I say it's the best Christian manga or best Christian anime out there, it's because I don't know of another one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not a good project. It probably would still be the best that I know of if there was many other choices. But I don't know of any other Christian animes out there. Do you?
No.
So they get all my love. But also though, I've comparing their work to the secular stuff out there, their stuff is still better than that. So I have to say it's worthy of that title because it's also better than so many of the other anime and uh, uh, animated projects out there. It's got a great story. He's put a ton of thought into it, and it's got a lot of heart that he puts into it. So I really respect his work. But we do need more Christian art and anime and other things that are unconventional and different and make a difference and break the mold. Like that's the kind of stuff we should be doing because Jesus makes real art. He doesn't make fake art. He doesn't make propaganda. He doesn't need to do that. He just loves people, you know? And so that's going to show in his work, and that's going to show in the real Christian artists when they make work. If you're seeing Christian artists making propaganda, they're not artists. They're just not. They're people that you pay because you have hopes, maybe that will get better work. But what you really should be doing is paying the Christian real artists who are doing things that you're uncomfortable with a little bit. They're a little bit unconventional, a little bit new, and they make you think stuff that Hollywood won't make. And that's why it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's not because it's bad work. It's because Hollywood has been training us to accept propaganda. And so that's what we're used to now, sadly. And so when there's new stuff out there that's making us think, some people get uncomfortable by that idea. But that's actually a good feeling. You didn't know that? Oh, that's a good feeling. You're having to think for yourself and you're having to actually feel real feelings. That's authenticity, right? Shining through. So that's the kind of stuff we want. And you can't really get that stuff without a real community, because real community makes authentic work because there's real love there in that. And when you respect artists and what they're bringing to the table and they're respecting you and they're trying to do the best work they can do, this is the kind of stuff that comes out of real communities, right? Then you got this growing thing. It's like an organism that starts to come up from it, from real community. And then real dynamism can happen, real kinds of dynamic storytelling. There can be competition happening. Oh, dynamic. That's when really good stuff's going to start happening, you know? So that's not just something that can happen. It's something you have to grow, something you have to kind of encourage and invest in, take risks on, right? Not because you necessarily understand or agree with all their work at first, but because you know them as a person. You believe in them as a person. You trust them, right? And that comes from real relationships, not fake relationships. So that's why I say community is where it's at. Because real relationships can only happen in community. It doesn't happen like online, some dude on Facebook or something. That's not how real community happens. You don't know those people. So what you need is face-to-face communities like Realm Makers are making. And we need more of these kinds of conventions, cons, expos, things like this for the Christian art community and the conservative art community to make better stuff. That's how you're going to make better stuff by building real communities, face-to-face communities. like your real friends. Imagine. Wow. Could that happen? Of course it can. You just got to show up. It's not that hard. You show up. You know, all of us make mistakes in person. That's just how it works. The end of the world doesn't happen like it does on social media. Oh my goodness, the end of the world just happened. Somebody said something rude. Oh my goodness. That's not real relationships. What you need is real face to face. And then you find out, guess what? Everybody makes mistakes. So what? We just got over it. Wow. And then the relationship can happen, right? Now you have goals, you have aspirations, you get to practice your skills, right? And you get better and better. And then you have hopefully some people behind you who will also help you with your goals as you help them with their goals. You know, one of the things that got lost quickly with social media was everybody started being out for themselves. I'm all out for myself. I'll show up if what you're doing is there to serve me. That's not how community works. You give, they give back. You give, they give back. You can't, if you're all about yourself, it's not going to work. People are going to sense that. Oh, they just, they're going to talk about themselves for the next half an hour. Here they come. No, you need to be there to listen to people, hear what they have going on too. It's a give and take with real relationships. So it's a skill you're going to have to learn if you're not used to doing that. So if you can, next time, follow realmmakers.com. And there's going to be another expo next year, wherever that is. I don't know if it's going to be in Grand Rapids as well. It might be at the DeVos Place, they call it, downtown Grand Rapids. It was a good place for it. It was a really nice convention center, plenty of space. But I would challenge you to go. And there's going to be other conventions and expos as well that are from other conservative and Christian people who make these things. You know, we've talked about possibly trying to organize one of these things too, but this is like a full-time gig Realm Makers had to do. I don't know if you know their story. I don't know their whole story, but what I do know is that the guys who run Realm Makers, this is like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, something like this. I believe that his wife was a writer, wanted to be a writer, was writing Christian fiction, and they realized that if they did um, a writers convention, that they could bring a bookstore with them, like a mobile bookstore with them, and instead of you coming to their bookstore, they're bringing the bookstore to you,
Mm.
right? And so it became these two things: is find more Christian books and find more Christian community, other writers, Christian writers, fiction writers who care about what we care about. And so they just decided, if you're not going to come to me, I'm going to come to you, right? That's the attitude it takes to build community. It's not like me, me, me. It's okay, I will come to you. And then I can be on your ground and you can feel comfortable and then we can talk, right? And engage on the level that we'd like to engage on as like Christian geeks or Christian, nerds or Christian creators or artists, right? We have our own little community. We do things our own way. And so people like to feel comfortable in their space. And so what do? You go to their space to make them feel comfortable. And that's what they did. And that was like 10 years ago they started this. For the first time, 2025, they did an expo as well, which is that the fans can also come out, not just other writers like them and do a convention, but the fans can also come out and do an expo and get books signed and, you know, purchase a book and talk to the writers themselves and listen to talks and watch a movie. I got to see Light of the World, but I don't know the moratorium on reviews. So they didn't tell me, or they didn't tell us if there was a moratorium on giving reviews, honest reviews of the picture. So I don't have the freedom then to go out and give my own review in any depth, right, of the picture. But there was a lot of good things about it. Let me just say, a lot of good things about Light of the World. And maybe when the moratorium is up, which I believe the film comes out September 5th, if in doubt, wait till the release date, right? So I'll be waiting until September 5th to do that, and hopefully it'll be seen by a few other people before then, but we'll see. I'm hoping also to interview Jason Moody on here. Maybe we'll do a little Zoom call. We'll see.
That would be awesome.
It'd be awesome. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this weekend and get to know your local realm makers next year. And maybe we'll be there and we can meet up. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. And where can people find you, Rebecca?
You can find me on Substack and on Facebook as well. Where can people find you?
Me too. You can find me on Substack, but not Facebook.
I,
I'm here
I,
on
should, I should have
YouTube.
said YouTube. You can find me on YouTube.
Oh,
That's
good. I'm
better.
glad you corrected that.
That's actually better.
Fascist book there. Uh, no, yes. You can find me on Substack and YouTube and MediaMoses.com. So hopefully we will be continuing our journey to find another beautiful bookstore, coffee house somewhere. And we'll see what this next month brings us. But hopefully it will bring us a place by next month. We'll see. All right. Have a good weekend, guys. Have a good weekend, America.
That was funny. I like that.